I'm sure you've run into the problem where you've brought some Intel feeds, some indicator of compromise feeds into MISP, and that has gone out to your SIEM, or maybe it's been blocked somewhere and it's caused a big problem. It happens to the best of us. So what I wanted to talk about is in MISP, we have 3 different ways of trying to minimize the chance that a false positive that we've gotten from a feed ends up on a control or making a heap of noisy alerts. So here I've made an event and we've got a couple of public DNS servers. This one's owned by Cloudflare, Quad 1. This one's owned by Google, Quad 8. These regularly appear in threat intel reports because malware can and will use them, but they are benign, of course. They are not malicious in and of themselves, and if you block them, it's going to create a big problem. So the first way we have in MISP of trying to make sure this doesn't get out to our controls or our alerting, and it's this column here that maybe you haven't noticed before, the IDS setting. So it's intrusion detection system, but you could interpret this as being, do I want to block or detect this IOC? Right now, I've got these turned off, and that is the correct setting for these public DNS servers. So they could be mentioned in, this MISP event, but we're saying you shouldn't block them, you shouldn't alert on them. That leads us on, and it's kind of combined with the second way we can avoid false positives in MISP. If I know I never want to block or detect these IP addresses, we've got something called a warning list. Warning lists are lists of IP address ranges, domains, can be file hashes, and it tells MISP that whenever you see this and the IDS flag is turned on, I want you to alert me. So let's turn on Cloudflare's Quad 1, and it'll give me a little dialog here. I'll say yes. If I was to then reload this event, you can see it's popped up a little warning here, which is saying like, hey, this is on this warning list, and we get another warning up here to indicate the same thing. So that's method number 2. So without IDS, you're not going to see the warning list icons, but if we see the IDS turned on incorrectly for something we don't want to block, this is what we're going to see. Method number 3, you might know about sightings in MISP. This is this thumb up icon, but the thumbs down icon lets us mark a false positive. So if we click this, we now see that this has been marked false positive. The other way we can look at this data is via the JSON representation. So if I was to scroll down here to my Quad 1 entry, you'll see that there's this entry warnings here. Warnings is saying this is a member of a warning list. So if I'm ingesting this data via a data pipeline or a SOAR platform or a SIEM, I can be looking at this and going like, Quad 1 is on a warning list, let's ignore it. So that's one way to do it. Up a bit further here, you can see that there's the 2 IDS. Flag is turned to true or it's turned to false. If it's false, we shouldn't be doing anything with it. Here it is here. So there's 3 ways. The IDS flag, always respect that when you're both looking at data in MISP in the UI or on the data level with the JSON. Secondly, use warning lists, turn them on. They're under your control. And the third is you can mark false positives. I hope this was handy.